So here is the full footprint of the base. The entrance will be here and the TC here. We're going to start with this section as our starter. As you can see, the main part of this base is all triangles, which will make the raid cost high and equal from all directions. In this base, I was really focused on raids. So let me introduce you to Raid Shadow Legends. With over 25 million downloads and 10 billion PvE battles fought, the community around this game has grown into something special. First, look at this Discord. I mean, almost 14,000 players online at this exact moment. And it gets even better. Inside the Discord is a channel for each individual part of the game where you can find help others, and many other things. There's even channels for many different languages here. Now, one of my favorite parts of this game is the PvP arena, so let me show you the strategy that I learned from this community. First, honeycomb boosts our speed. Second, Madame Cerise takes away the enemy buffs and replaces them with decreased defense and decreased attack. Third, Talia comes in and boom, we win. One of the things I've been working on is Doom Tower, Raid's newest addition. Doom Tower is a giant 120 floor tower with secret rooms and 12 incredibly fun bosses to fight. Like I said, there are countless guides on every platform to help new players, and I can help you too. If you click on the link in the description, you'll get an XP booster, some energy refills, an ancient shard, 50 gems, and this incredible Void Champion Bulwark. Bulwark is the perfect champion to get you started in your journey. You can pick up all of this cool stuff right here in your inbox. I'll see you there. So like I said, we're going to build our starter using these triangles. When it's finished, it will look like this. Inside, behind a couple of doors, we have everything you'll need for the start of an early wipe. In here we have 3 sleeping bags, some storage, a furnace, a barbecue, a level 1 workbench, and up this way we even have a second exit. This can come in clutch in many early game circumstances. Well, let's build it. Here we're going to start off with 1 triangle and turn it into a circle with 5 more. Wall in the edge with a double door on the front. This can be wood to start. The TC goes on the wall facing the door like so. Build 3 triangles from the door and then 2 from the TC. We basically want this gap. We'll put a door between the gap and the TC to secure it. You could seal this gap with wood and break it later if you need more resources, but I'll use a furnace to jump up and add a door facing this way. If the door swings out, it blocks off some of the roof, which can be helpful with potential campers this early. There are 2 traps I'd like to use here, if you happen to find them. The first one here. Now on the inside, we'll want to add some basic stuff next to the TC behind the door. First will be the furnace, and then with this door open, a large box. Inside here, we can grab the barbecue, and then from out here we can place the small box. Next on this wall right after the door, we'll add in our level 1. You can use this to jump up to the top. Next we can add another large box right in front of it. Try to squeeze it in as far as you can get it. Now we want to section this part off from the front door too. I'd like this door to swing like this so it doesn't cut the base in half. This base is meant for a trio, so I'll show you the 3 main sleeping bag placements. They are a little finicky, but there is a decent amount of margin of error when placing them. And that is pretty much all of the basic stuff placed. Obviously you'll have to get a little bit of metal to build all of this, but it's quite easy. Now one final thing here, if you do find one, is adding this trap to the front. These little details will help a lot in the beginning since nobody has metal armor yet. The next thing we'll do is add honeycomb around our core. We'll start here at the front door and add a triangle to each side of the base. Once again, starting at the front, we can add 2 triangles in between each triangle that we just built. This will result in our core being surrounded by a kind of circle, a complete hallway. Next, coming out of the top door and out 2 triangles, we drop off the side. We'll add 2 extra triangles on the end and 1 on each of the sides. Kind of a weird shape right now, but we'll need them later. Now we'll want to come over to this side and add a frame and a wall. You can put the door in now. We can start walling in around the edge, but we do want to make sure we skip the 4 extra triangles that we just built. We'll come back to those later on. Once you're about halfway, come over to the other end and we want to skip these 2 triangles as well. With these last walls in, the base should look like this. Next we'll work on the second floor, which includes the entrance and the 2 other drop downs for our loot rooms. This first one is for the entrance, and if you come over here and put your back to this door, you need these 2 frames for the loot rooms. Once you have those positions mapped, you can fill in the rest of the floor. Next let's build our entrance, a wall here, and we'll use this half-height section, which will make raiding through the doors easy to defend. With that in, we can place walls in the following spots. Most of the second floor does get walled in, but not the entire thing. The base should look like this if it's done right. Now we want to wall in the entire ceiling except for one spot. The sun is really getting in my eyes here. Alright, the one spot you want to leave open is the one right here. This is above the TC, and since we have to fortify it eventually anyway, we can also use it as a jump up for the next floor. Since it's still early, we can just build this out of stone for now. Next we jump up and we want to place a half wall right here next to the double door. This stops raiders from being able to take shortcuts later on. Next, from the top and above that half wall will go this frame, followed by these 2 lower frames, and this guy. Another weird setup, but after you place all of the doors in like this, totally works as an elevator. If you're wondering why all these weird type of build patterns are popping up in this base, it's because the end product is very tight and compact. That was the last weird one though, to be fair. Now let's put another door on the main path close to the front entrance. Something that is optional at this point, but I would suggest doing, would be dropping down here and placing this wall against the front door. This will force raiders to go through a couple of extra doors to actually raid you. The rest of this hallway gets sectioned off and will be loot rooms only accessible through those floor frames we just placed. The base should now look like this. In the front door, we'll want to get a hatch in here as soon as we can, but for now, a furnace works just fine. You can easily jump through here without even crouching, and then the main hallway here starts to take some form. Before we build anything else structure-wise, let's go ahead and upgrade and finish our main core. Now let's go into our core where we have some big changes to make. First, let's go ahead and get rid of all of the deployables, because as the wipe progresses, this stuff will have to be replaced as we become more and more efficient. The doors can go too now. Now we have this kind of blank slate. The first big change to this room will be that a wall actually goes here. Now we can only enter through the missing triangle. Around the TC we'll want the floor to be HQM, the walls metal, and the top HQM2. In this new corner here we could fit the level 2 and then the level 3 when we get it. We'll start with the level 2 and place it as far back as we can. If it's in all the way, the garage door will still fit. Once you have this garage door in and you also acquire the level 3, you can place it right in the same spot. Place the small box under it and it's good to go. Next, for this area, we'll need to build a half-height floor so that we can double the space for boxes. You should use twig here and upgrade only the shelf to stone. Before we place the boxes, build a window frame in front of the TC. That, in combination with the shelf, and after we upgrade them both later, makes the TC much harder to loot if it does get raided. After you place the garage door, you can place the boxes, large one on the right and small one on the left. To get the small one on top, I just use a small box on the floor to stand on. So when that's done, on this wall we can add some more small boxes and 3 sleeping bags. The 2 boxes can go up against the wall, and then after that we'll add the sleeping bags in a row. That's all of the stuff we'll add in here for now, but we still have some upgrading to do. We basically want everything in here to be sheet metal except for the floor. You can upgrade the floor if you want, but it's not completely necessary, especially if your terrain's flat. We also want this stuff up here to be metal, but we'll get to that in just a sec. First add in this stone frame with a hatch that extends up against the back wall here. This will be our new way down, and I forgot something, guys. I forgot this garage door here. It's actually really important too, sorry about that. In the video, I'm going to have to replace these things in order to get it in. You want it to swing this way so it doesn't intersect with the hatch. After that, we could just place everything back like normal. Okay, so where were we? Okay, so we were about to upgrade this wall and then the top. It also makes sense to place a garage door here now. This is in case people were to raid through this wall, they would still have to deal with the garage door after, and it's pretty much a waste of rockets. Now you can kind of see how our door path will eventually be. We could replace this door at front here with a garage door, but to save materials it's better to just add the door on the end here. This also strengthens the door raid cost. Next we could start adding in some of the loot rooms down here under the hatches, and by the way, this door should be a dead end now. Actually, if people raid through the front door, through this wall, and think to take this door next, which would be logical, they would see this. From the outside, nothing we just did is visible, except for these couple of pieces of metal, which is totally fine. So our first dedicated loot room will be down this hatch here. We want to run all the way to the end on the left and upgrade this last wall. We want to add a sheet metal wall here, basically adding honeycomb to our main core. The next wall is stone, and the final one is metal. You should have metal, then 2 triangles, and then this opening. We can then upgrade the 2 triangles along with these 2 walls. We've just created honeycomb and a drop down loot room at the same time here. We'll have storage on this side, and we can also fit some on this side. This means we can add a sheet metal wall and upgrade this too. Let's work on the small side first. We'll add a half height floor to increase the storage potential, and then add a stone frame on the front. We want the garage door to face in so that it doesn't mess with the hatch. Speaking of the hatch, it goes right here and should open towards the wall. We'll also want a half height shelf on this side through these 2 triangles. You can build whatever loot room you like here, I'll just go with the standard for the video, which is basically 2 large boxes on each height with a metal window frame to section it off. On this side we'll do the same thing as we did in the core earlier, a large box on the right and a small box on the left. Once that's in, we can easily fit in this sleeping bag. Come on. Come on, please. Please, for the video. Don't make me look bad. Come on. Come on. Okay, see, that was nice and easy. I'll tell you what, in the comments, let me know how many jumps that one took you, okay? But in the end, that loot room is now done, and we have something similar to do for this one. First, let's get rid of this door. Now I confess, I have made a mistake here, and this wall should not be here. You can leave it there, but then this spot in the final base is impossible to build. If you don't mind that, then it's fine. If you're watching this whole video before you build it, you're also fine. Just remember this wall goes 1 slot back. If you are building the base while watching the video, and you also want that area in the front, well, for the video, I will remove it and build it properly. We'll want that wall to be sheet metal, and we also want a sheet metal wall facing this way on the next slot, once again adding honeycomb to our core. The next wall can be stone, and it should face this way. One more sheet metal wall as we are now inside of the loot room. We want to make sure we upgrade the rest of the room to sheet metal too. We could then add a shelf to this part as well, but since there is a door frame there from earlier, we have to extend it out 1 extra triangle. Now we have the same thing as before, so the garage door faces the same way as before too. We'll put the hatch in the same way, and also build the loot room the same way as well. Everything literally goes in the same as the first loot room we built, so that's why I'm fast forwarding through it. Let's see if I can defeat my nemesis though. Oh, 1 try. That was with no edits, no edits. Now both of our loot rooms are finished. We still have some sectioning off to do on the second floor here, but you can get a sense of how split these loot rooms are, which is always important for raids. If we compare what we have now to the finished base, you can see the finished one has the honeycomb all the way up to the top, and this one has triangles still on the back. So the next thing we'll do will be finishing up the honeycomb. First, we'll add the triangles between the first and second floors. We can then go ahead and put all the walls around them. Once this is done, there is no more honeycomb to add to the first floor, except the entrance, of course. Next, we'll want to go to the roof, and with the front entrance on this side, we'll add in these 2 extra honeycombs, and also then bring up the ones we added around the first floor. There are 2 extra ones on this side as well, and once they are in, you can top them all off. Now the base is pretty much full size, with the exception being some overhang on the defense floor, which we'll add later. Now we can build up the entrance really quick. To do this, we need 2 squares with the front door on this side. We'll place frames where we want vision and seal the final wall. The front door swings in and all the shop fronts can go in. This entire roof section can then get sealed off. We'll want a frame here so that a double door swinging this way gives us an airlock. This double now needs to be a garage door since it leads deeper into the base. It is unlikely you'll get raided through the doors here, but just in case we'll want a sheet metal wall. Once you get another triangle hatch, place it here and get rid of the small furnace. On this side of the double door, you can add in these items to give some utility to this space. I wouldn't store anything good here, but it is useful to have. Upgrade this wall to metal. On this side here, we have more utility and we need these 2 upgrades. And that is pretty much the front entrance done. Now let's go ahead and go inside and add some stuff in. First, let's get the very obvious upgrades out of the way. We need to replace this door here, and then we can upgrade everything attached to this front entrance to sheet metal. Next, upgrade the following 3 walls to metal also. We don't want to waste materials, so now we should come over to this side and upgrade this elevator to armored, along with these 2 walls. Then we can finish the rest in metal. The top at this point is also very important, so we want to upgrade it all to metal just to stop raiders from deciding to top down raid us. Once the hallway looks like this, we can then fortify the elevator going up. To do this, we'll first want to remove all of the sheet metal doors and replace them with garage doors. The orientation is important here, so make sure it's the same as in the video. Now is the time when we want to upgrade this floor stack to armored, the top and all of its sides. Also make sure this top part is sheet metal. Now the base should look like this, and the shell is pretty much done except for our defense floor. One last thing before we go any further is if you notice this single piece of HQM. This is above the elevator leading into the core, so it's best to upgrade this single section of honeycomb here to sheet metal. This has a much better effect once the top floor is on, but no better time than now. So to build the defense floor, you'll want to add in these floor tiles. I built them in twig ahead of time so that you could see the general concept of it. I've also added the 3 entry points into the floor with frames. First thing we'll do here is upgrade all of the twig to stone. Once you have that done, you'll want to add in the single door frames on this side of the gap so that the doors swing the right way. After those are in, we can then fill in the rest of the edge around the very border of the base with window frames. Here is an aerial view to check that everything is in the right spot. Once it's good, we can then add in the doors, which should all swing out towards the outer edge of the base. This is the only way to get the correct gap size. Next, fill in all the window frames with your window of choice. Each window separately has different upsides and downsides. Next, we want to secure above the middle of the base using walls in between each of the wall frames, walled in the edge of the sheet metal on the floor. We can put the 3 garage doors on now. I like to face them all inward. The entire ceiling can get filled in at this point. I'll just fast forward through this part since all of the base is triangles. The overhangs are squares, I guess, but all you have to do is mimic the layout of the floor and everything fits into place nicely. If you want access to the very top, this spot would be the place to add your elevator, but for me, I don't find it needed, so I'll just seal it up. So now back on the inside here, we're going to start finishing up. We'll start with the bunker where everything needs to be upgraded to HQM. Now the floor is actually fine depending on your terrain and if you're actually trying to save materials or not. I don't know why I said bunker, I meant core. It's getting late. Upgrading this window frame to metal makes it much stronger with the half wall in front of it metal as well. Next we need to upgrade the walls around the TC, but it is impossible from where we just were. So basically, if we look at where this wall actually is, it's an easy upgrade if we drop down from the loot rooms, so that's what we'll do. So that's one wall, and the other one, as you can see, is simply in the other loot room. This actually kind of demonstrates how hidden the TC actually is as well. So now our TC is very secure from the horizontal angles, and we've already upgraded the roof stack above it. Next we'll finish the second floor, starting by adding a half height floor above the core entrance. We'll upgrade it to sheet metal just so it doesn't fall apart. This gives us more room for more stuff. Above this one here, I like to do it slightly different. We'll put the same half height floor but without any sides. We'll make it sheet metal because this is a great spot to place a turret. It has great range. For our last loot room, we'll want to add a full wall on this side first. We are basically sectioning this core into thirds to really make raiding a pain. We'll want one more half height floor here, but it can be left as stone. On the front of this one, we could place a garage door. On the back side of this wall, we have one triangle worth of space that we're going to seal off. We're going to use a window here, and you could put whatever you want in here. I like to actually put the large battery. Once you choose what to put in there, go ahead and put the window frame. To finish the security of this floor, I'm going to add wall frames for each spot that a garage door needs to be placed in. Adding this many garage doors makes raiding through this much more expensive and very confusing. You can place one here, but it's actually not necessary. One more over on this side and the rest of the main hall already has them. So I could literally spend hours discussing all of the options you have on this floor to optimize and personalize this space, but this is how I would build it. I do want to show you that you want to upgrade these 2 triangles on the floor here to HQM, so all 3 are armored in a row. I like to basically split my utility into lockers and this combo wherever possible. This can be a great wall for your electrical. I like to always put my battery behind glass like that. Another locker, more bags, a turret. Over here, these vending machines need to be broken even if the walls behind it are gone, making it slightly stronger, and more storage over there. This is the general setup I like to use throughout my base designs. Now if you noticed, our top floor has some new additions as well. Now this is actually a video editing error, but I'll just go with it, I guess. So the final part of this base is taking what we have now and turning it into that. Right next to this HQM floor, we need to upgrade the wall. We also want to upgrade the 2 walls on the opposite side here. Next we'll want 2 half walls so that we can section off this end just like this. This gives us space to work with on the top and on the bottom. We can fit some boxes up here. Now these are not super secure, but they can be very helpful in a pinch. It's a great place for bolties if you ask me. With those in, next we'll add a simple stone roof stack above this HQM. This is to prevent shortcuts down into the elevator below. It would be slightly cheaper if this wasn't here. Next, what I also like to add up here is sleeping bags. Being able to respawn on different floors of your base can literally change the tides in an online raid. It is also possible to fit in a couple of beds up here as well. The final space we have is right here. This is slightly more secure than above, but I wouldn't go ahead and put all my sulfur in these. Either way, we can fit 3 large boxes in it and a barbecue. There is most likely a much better way to use this space storage wise, but at the end of the day, it's really just for a quick drop in extra stuff. This should be just fine. And that is pretty much the base. Now, it's 5 AM right now, so see ya! Oh, by the way, this base was so hard to build. And I mean that only in terms of editing and getting the flow of the video right. See, the thing is, it's all triangles and very compact, so each piece needs to be in an exact spot at an exact time. Worth it in the end because the base is very well built, but whew,